The law office of Peterson and Associates screamed old money, from its mahogany-paneled walls to the oil paintings of stern-faced founding partners. I sat in an uncomfortable leather chair, watching my grandfather's will reading unfold like a perfectly scripted drama. My sister Catherine sat beside our parents, all three of them dressed in expensive mourning clothes that somehow managed to look both appropriately somber and fashionably cutting-edge. I wore a simple black dress from my business meetings wardrobe, the one they thought came from department stores but actually cost more than their monthly country club dues. And now, Mr. Peterson adjusted his reading glasses, to the matter of the primary inheritance, including controlling interest in First Heritage Bank and associated financial holdings. I felt my parents tense beside me. This was what they'd been waiting for. Grandfather had built First Heritage from nothing, turning it into one of the city's most prestigious financial institutions. The controlling shares were worth millions. To my granddaughter, Catherine Marie Harrison, I leave all shares and interests in First Heritage Bank, along with full voting rights and board positions. Catherine's perfectly manicured hand flew to her mouth in practiced surprise. My mother squeezed her shoulder proudly. My father nodded as if this was exactly what he'd expected. And to my granddaughter, Elizabeth N. Harrison, Mr. Peterson continued, peering at me over his glasses, I leave my collection of rare books in my personal library. Books. While Catherine got the bank, the power, the prestige, I got books. There must be some mistake, my mother said quickly. James always said he would split everything equally between the girls. Mr. Peterson shook his head. The will is quite clear, Mrs. Harrison. Mr. Harrison made these changes 6 months ago, after extensive discussions with the family. Discussions I hadn't been included in naturally. Just like I hadn't been included in the family meetings about the bank's future, or the dinner parties with the board members, or any of the countless gatherings where my sister was groomed to take over while I was dismissed as not having a head for business. They only knew. It's probably for the best, my father said in that patronizing tone he'd perfected over the years. Catherine has been working at the bank since college. She understands the business. Elizabeth is more academic. Their favorite euphemism for waste of potential. Never mind that my academic pursuits had led me to build Harrison Financial Analytics, one of the most successful fintech companies in the country. They thought I ran a small consulting firm helping local businesses with their accounting. They had no idea that my company's trading algorithms controlled billions in assets. That my risk assessment software was used by most major banks, including First Heritage, though they didn't know that either. That while Catherine was playing banker in grandfather's shadow, I was quietly revolutionizing the entire industry. Well, Catherine said with artificial sweetness, at least you got the books, Lizzie. You always did love reading. I saw Mr. Peterson wince slightly at her condescension. He'd been grandfather's lawyer for 30 years. He knew exactly what was in those books. But I kept my face carefully neutral. Yes, I replied softly. I always did. The meeting concluded with the usual paperwork. Catherine signed her documents with flourish, already talking about the changes she planned to make at the bank. My parents beamed with pride, probably imagining the social status boost they'd get from having a daughter as CEO of First Heritage. I signed my papers quietly, accepting the key to grandfather's library. Mr. Peterson held my gaze for a moment longer than necessary, and I saw something there, knowledge perhaps. Or warning. Ms. Elizabeth, he said as my family headed for the door, a moment please? My mother paused. We're having a celebration lunch at Le Cirque, Elizabeth. Don't be too long. I waited until they left before turning back to Mr. Peterson. He reached into his desk and pulled out an envelope, old, yellowed, with my name written in grandfather's distinctive handwriting. He asked me to give you this privately, the lawyer said, after the others had gone. I opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper, covered in grandfather's elegant script. My dearest Elizabeth, if you're reading this, then everything has gone according to plan. They all think I've chosen Catherine over you, that I've fallen for their manipulations and pressure to keep the bank in capable hands. What they don't know, what you've never told them, is that I've been watching your success from afar. Did you think I wouldn't recognize your algorithms when my own bank started using them? Did you think I wouldn't notice when Harrison Financial Analytics began buying up shares in our competitors? You understand something Catherine never will. Modern banking isn't about marble columns and board meetings. It's about technology, innovation, and seeing opportunities others miss. The books I've left you aren't just books. In my library, you'll find detailed records of every account, every transaction, every weakness in First Heritage's infrastructure. You'll also find bearer bonds, offshore account numbers, and enough ammunition to take control of what's rightfully yours. Catherine may have the shares, but you have something far more valuable: vision. Don't let them know you know. Don't show your hand too soon. Wait, watch, and when the moment is right, take back what's yours. All my love, grandfather. I looked up at Mr. Peterson, who nodded slowly. Your grandfather was a very careful man, he said. He knew exactly what he was doing. How long have you known? I asked. About my company? Since you first launched it, he smiled. James was so proud, though he could never show it. He had to maintain the fiction that Catherine was the financial genius. I carefully folded the letter and placed it in my purse. And the library? The movers will deliver everything to your office tomorrow. I suggest you start with the red ledger on the top shelf. It's illuminating. I stood up, smoothing my dress. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. For everything. Don't thank me yet, he replied. The real work is just beginning. He was right. As I walked out of the law office, my phone buzzed with notifications. Catherine had already announced her new position on social media, complete with a professional photo shoot in grandfather's old office. My parents were sharing and commenting, their pride evident in every word. Let them celebrate, I thought, sliding into my car, a modest Audi that hid its true performance capabilities behind understated styling. Let them think they've won. I drove to my office, not the small consulting space my family thought I worked from, but the entire top floor of a downtown high-rise. My real office, where Harrison Financial Analytics conducted its true business. Ms. Harrison, my assistant Michael greeted me as I stepped off the private elevator. I'm sorry about your grandfather. Thank you, Michael. Has the market reacted to the announcement yet? He handed me a tablet displaying real-time trading data. First Heritage's stock had jumped on the news of Catherine's succession. The market, like my family, thought they knew what they were getting. Set up a meeting with our major shareholders, I said, walking into my office. And get me everything we have on First Heritage's board members. Personal accounts, loans, investments, everything. Already done, he replied. And the algorithm you designed to monitor their trading patterns? It's flagged some interesting activities. I smiled, remembering grandfather's letter. Pull up the data. It's time to start phase 1. Phase 1. Michael raised an eyebrow. I turned to look out my window at the city skyline. First Heritage's main branch was visible from here, its classic architecture a testament to old-world banking. Soon that world would change. Yes, I said quietly. Phase 1. By the time we're done, my sister won't just be running grandfather's bank. She'll be running my bank. As Michael left to gather the data, I opened my laptop and began typing. The algorithm I'd spent years perfecting would need adjustments for what I had planned. Small changes at first, nothing to alert the board or spark regulatory attention. Just enough to start the dominoes falling. My phone buzzed again. A message from Catherine, lunch at Le Cirque. Don't be late, we're celebrating MY big day. I typed back, on my way. Wouldn't miss it. After all, every good banker knows. Keep your friends close and your shareholders closer. Even if they don't know they're about to become yours. The celebration lunch at Le Cirque was exactly what I expected, a parade of false modesty and thinly veiled condescension. Catherine held court at the center of the table, already talking about her vision for First Heritage Bank. Of course we'll need to modernize, she declared, sampling her overpriced salad. But carefully. We can't lose the personal touch that makes First Heritage special. I hid my smile behind my water glass. The personal touch she referred to was exactly what made the bank vulnerable, old-school relationship banking that ignored the realities of modern finance. What do you think, Elizabeth? My mother asked, probably feeling obligated to include me. Any thoughts on the bank's future? Oh, Mom, Catherine laughed. What would Lizzie know about banking? She does spreadsheets for small businesses. If she only knew that my spreadsheets had just flagged 3 major weaknesses in First Heritage's trading platform. Weaknesses my algorithms were already exploiting. Actually, I said mildly, I've been reading about blockchain technology and its impact on traditional banking. It's quite fascinating. My father waved his hand dismissively. That's all computer nonsense. Real banking is about relationships, trust, handshakes. Speaking of trust, Catherine added, the board wants me to review all major accounts personally. Show them they're in good hands. I nodded, thinking of grandfather's red ledger, now safely in my office. The one detailing every board member's personal loans, investment schemes, and hidden accounts. The one showing exactly how much trust was really worth. 2 weeks later, I sat in my real office watching Phase 1 unfold on multiple screens. Michael stood beside me, updating me on our progress. The algorithm has identified patterns in their forex trading, he reported. Every Tuesday, like clockwork, they make the same mistakes. I pulled up the relevant data. First Heritage's foreign exchange desk was losing money, not enough to raise alarms but enough to create pressure. Pressure that would soon have the board looking for solutions. How's their technology upgrade going? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Badly, Michael smiled. Their new system keeps having unexpected issues. Nothing major, just inconvenient. Issues caused by subtle flaws in the code they'd bought from a shell company I controlled. Flaws that would take months to identify and years to fix, unless they hired the right consultant. My phone buzzed, Catherine calling. I put her on speaker. Lizzie, she sounded stressed, you do computer stuff, right? The bank's having some technical problems. What kind of problems? Just, things not working right. Trading delays, system crashes. The board is getting nervous. I leaned back in my chair, enjoying the moment. That sounds serious. Have you tried their IT department? They're useless. Can't you help? For family. For family. The same family that had excluded me from everything important. The same family that thought I wasn't good enough for grandfather's legacy. I suppose I could take a look, I said carefully. But my consulting rates. Whatever it costs, she interrupted. Just fix it. Phase 1, complete. Over the next 6 months, I became First Heritage's indispensable tech consultant. My team, working through various front companies, stabilized their systems, improved their trading platforms, and gradually integrated my software throughout their infrastructure. Meanwhile, Harrison Financial Analytics continued its quiet accumulation of First Heritage stock. Small purchases through different entities, never enough to trigger reporting requirements. The same strategy I'd used to gain control of 3 other banks without anyone noticing. Catherine was too busy playing CEO to notice. She took credit for the bank's improved performance, never realizing that every improvement made them more dependent on my systems. Then came the day I'd been waiting for. A routine board meeting where Catherine would present her quarterly results. Except this time I made sure she had a surprise waiting. I sat in my office watching the meeting through the bank's security cameras that ran on my software. Catherine stood at the podium, confident in her expensive suit and practiced smile. As you can see, she gestured to her PowerPoint, First Heritage continues to lead in traditional banking metrics. Suddenly, every screen in the boardroom changed. Instead of her carefully prepared slides, they showed a different presentation. One detailing the true ownership of First Heritage Bank. Through shell companies. Through proxy votes. Through carefully structured derivatives. I owned 51% of the voting shares. The boardroom erupted in chaos. Catherine stared at the screens, her face draining of color. My parents, sitting in the observer section, looked like they'd seen a ghost. That's when I walked in. Please, I said quietly, but my voice carried through the stunned silence. Continue your presentation, Catherine. Though you might want to update your ownership slides. What is this? My father stammered. I took my place at the head of the table, grandfather's old seat. This is modern banking, Dad. The kind that happens through computers, not handshakes. You can't do this, Catherine protested. Grandfather left the bank to me. Grandfather left you shares, I corrected her. But he left me something more valuable, knowledge. Knowledge that I used to build something bigger than First Heritage could ever be. I opened my laptop, displaying Harrison Financial Analytics' true holdings. The board members gasped as they saw the numbers. Your consulting company. My mother whispered. Is one of the largest financial technology firms in the world. I finished for her. Those spreadsheets for small businesses? They control trillion-dollar trading flows. That computer nonsense? It's the future of banking. Catherine sank into her chair, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. Why? Why do this? Because you never saw me, I said simply. None of you did. You were so convinced that banking was about appearances, about social connections, about fitting your idea of success that you missed what was really happening in the industry. I turned to the board members. First Heritage has a choice. Continue as you are, falling further behind in a digital world, or accept reality. My reality. And if we refuse? One of the older directors challenged. I smiled. Check your personal accounts. All of them. Including the offshore ones grandfather documented so carefully. One by one they pulled out phones and tablets. One by one their faces paled as they realized just how much I knew. Now, I continued, let's discuss the future of First Heritage. A future where technology and tradition work together. Where innovation matters more than inheritance. My parents sat silently, watching their carefully planned dynasty transform before their eyes. Catherine stared at her now useless presentation, years of unearned confidence shattered. Oh, and Catherine? I added almost as an afterthought. You can keep your title. Kyo is fine. But from now on you report to me. To you, she managed. Yes. To the person you thought only did computer stuff. To the sister you dismissed as academic. To First Heritage's majority shareholder and new chairman of the board. I stood up, smoothing my dress designer, though they could finally appreciate that now. I have a company to run. Several companies, actually. Michael will brief you on the changes we'll be implementing. Try to keep up. As I walked out of the boardroom, I heard my mother's shocked whisper. All this time, she was building an empire while we thought she was just playing with computers. I smiled, thinking of grandfather's letter still safely stored in my office. He had known. He had seen what they had missed. That true power isn't inherited, it's built line by line, trade by trade, algorithm by algorithm. My phone buzzed, a message from Mr. Peterson. Your grandfather would be proud. I typed back, he already was. He just needed everyone else to see why. 1 month later I sat in my office. My real office, the one with the view of the city and the bank's headquarters below. First Heritage's stock had soared since the announcement of its technological transformation. Catherine was actually doing decent work now that she had to earn her position. The board had fallen in line, recognizing that resistance was futile against the power of modern finance. My parents had tried to apologize, of course. Invited me to dinner, sent expensive gifts, attempted to rewrite history. But I kept my distance, letting them adjust to the new reality where their academic daughter controlled not just their bank, but their financial future. A notification popped up on my screen. Catherine requesting another loan extension. I clicked denied. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way. Just like I had learned watching them celebrate her successes while dismissing mine. Building my empire in silence while they glorified her mediocrity. Now they all understood what grandfather had known all along. In the age of digital finance, the quiet ones writing code are more powerful than the loud ones making speeches. And I was the quietest of them all.